You're live, buddy.
All right. Good evening, everybody out there in Facebook, YouTube land. I imagine I imagine we went on YouTube. Is that right? Live streamed. Okay.
I went Facebook. You want me to cancel your YouTube?
Nope, that's fine. Um, I'm because I don't trust Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and open up my screen capture and also record it because I think we should be good to go. Let me just make sure that I wasn't tuned in with that. So give me a second here. But good evening to everybody. I'll kind of talk while I'm doing two things at one time. You can see here on the screen, this is the beginning of July or June 2024, and we have new club sequences that have been added to the store. If you are in the PPD Sequence Club, there are three songs for you to choose from. Colby Calais, Christmas in the Sand. That was a previous month's selection, and it's back again. If you didn't get that one, that's an option. But the new song for the month was Loving Caliber, Magic Day. Again, as I said, for the Guess the Sequence contest, this was the hardest guessing that I ever had to do with anything. I could not come up with any hints that were cryptic enough, and I had to make up my own. So forgive me. I know it was a little hard the first day, but I don't know. Brad seemed to pull it out from underneath everybody and figured it out early. So he was the first person to guess correctly. So congratulations to Brad on that. I don't know that that's going to help him, except he did get two correct guesses. So we'll see. And let me do something else real quick here. Hello, hello, hello. And that should work. Okay. And the final thing, the final song that we added to the store is Danny Goki, My America. Because next month is the 4th of July. It's July Independence Day. We celebrate it here in the States. If you are looking for something that's very patriotic and very touching, a very moving song, highly recommend picking up this song. It's brand new in the store. I've actually been waiting quite a long time to get this one released, and it is a wonderful song. So if you enjoy showing and sharing your patriotism for our amazing country, it's one of the best in the world. You can't imagine living somewhere else other than the United States and just having all the freedoms that we do. So that's our homage to Independence Day this year. Now, we have a joke pack that is brand new. Actually, it's not a joke pack; it's an advertisement pack. It's called it's advertisement pack 2. We're calling it Snow Cone of Silence. And it's quite funny. It's a nice little advertisement to make it sound like your display is kind of sponsored by something a little bit silly. It's meant to make you laugh. And finally, the next thing we have is our Twinkling Traditions. If you're in the club, these are on sale. The joke pack, the Christmas advertisement, they're 50% off for club members. If you want to get the Twinkling Traditions this month, we're featuring the Patriotic Panorama is the name of it, and you can pick that up. There's a couple nice scenes in there. You're welcome to use those, stretch those out, make it as long as you'd like, as short as you'd like, and it is a great way to show off your pride for the country, as well as give yourself something nice to display during Labor Day, maybe next Memorial Day and Veterans Day and so forth. So there you have some of the great offerings for this month, the PPD Sequence Club. Huge thanks for all of the support, all of the new members. We've had a number of great new members join the PPD Sequence Club last week at the end of May for Memorial Day sale. So welcome to all of the new ones. There are some returning ones. It's great to have you back again. And we always want to share that we appreciate the fact that you guys do support us. And that's why we try to do our best to give you as many options, as many things as we can for your awesome monthly sequence club payment and or the annual if you join the annual or the monthly club. So we're going to do our guess the sequence contest raffle drawing, and I am going to let me go over here real quick. I gotta get on the screen. Uh, Rob, are you there?
Yes, sir.
We had a new affiliate join the PPD club, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Can you tell us about the new affiliate? Is it on the affiliate page yet?
It is.
There we go. I got it on the screen here.
Well, not that page. Sorry.
Oh, it's not on that one. Oh, it's on the, but
Not yet. It'll be on there now. Thanks. Uh,
sorry.
So the new affiliate that we have with the PPD Seqeunce Club is Pixel Paradise. So Pixel Paradise USA started, I think, last year. They had the really cool, and I wish I had more time to prepare for this, but they had the really cool ornament in the yard that used HDPE tubing, and he has a really cool arch kit and things like that. That's not it. That
Oh,
um, to do the HDPE arches and stuff like that. I got to speak with him at the Florida Mega Mini, and just some of the products that he was coming out with. Uh, he had a topper that had bearings on it and stuff like that, so it didn't get hung up going up and down the pole and that. Just phenomenal. So anytime we get a new vendor to the club, it's always great for the members. I think we're up to 24 vendors now in savings. So so this is Pixel Paradise here, and you can see if you scroll down a little bit. So the thing on the right, the 3D props, that's to do the big globe. That's the topper. You can see right below that the topper how it has the bearings on top of the plate. And then that's a topper to the left to help crank the tree up over it. If you keep going down, you'll see the ornament dead center. So there's a kit for that ornament right there. And then the leaping arch bases are right there to the right. And it's really cool the way that he designed these down into the right. It's really cool how he designed the arch bases. So they actually, if you're trying to do arches in a straight line across your yard, they actually snap together. So when you put them in the yard and put the stakes down in it, you have one giant prop that can be, 30 feet long during the season, but after the season they pop right back apart. So it holds that straight line for you without you really being able to go off from it. And then they have like different things on there, building a seed mega tree and stuff like that. So take the chance and look at Pixel Paradise USA. Give them a look and check out your discount affiliates and see what they're offering on the percentage off, because he is offering a great deal to all members. We kind of keep all that stuff secret. It's kind of a need to know thing with the members. It's something that we added into the club where we started the affiliate savings program, because a lot of the affiliates that you guys have, we actually use in commercial projects and stuff like that. So instead of them giving us discounts to our commercial customers and stuff like that, we kind of instill those discounts down to you. And this is just another amazing affiliate to come in. And there's that base. You can kind of, you can't. It's on the back. Oh, you can kind of see it in the center picture, how it has like that bump and then a notch. That's kind of what holds it straight in the straight line. It's really neat how it's designed. So like I said, give Pixel Paradise a look. I got a lot of amazing things. Great family, and I got to really chat and meet with them at Florida Mega Mini. I assume they're probably going to go to other events, so hopefully you'll get to meet them as well.
So tonight, I'm going to work it out with them. We'll get in touch with them and figure out how we can do our gift cards for. We're going to give away 2 gift cards for $50 for our new affiliate vendor, Pixel Paradise USA. So this is exciting. It's always exciting to have a new affiliate, and a huge thanks to Rob for getting it all kind of slinging all the deals for it. So it's a bonus to all of the UPPD club members. So if you go log in, if there's things that you're interested in, there's always something on the vendor affiliate page that is going to save you money. Dale mentioned earlier this month that he joined the club and he saved well more than his annual Seqeunce club membership period. End of story.
I saved over $1,000 using it.
So the proof's in the pudding. You're going to spend the money anyway. Go ahead and join the club and get the savings on what you're going to buy anyway, because it just makes sense. So our goal has always been to have the best Seqeunces at the lowest prices, but the most quality and the most filled in ability that you could anticipate for any layout. And I feel like we've done the best we could to accomplish that. And that's what we do for the club. And that's hopefully the value that you see in it. And that if you join the club, you can take advantage of those offers as well to make it free for your Seqeunces. So huge thank you. And we're going to go ahead and give away 2 $50 gift cards. The first one is going to be for, and I gotta get my, I'll go ahead and click on the start here. We got a number of winners here. I know Brad's hoping to get a win here, but we don't know. We don't know who's going to win this time. Looks like Linda Marie. Congratulations. There's a new winner. I don't think I've ever called out Linda Marie the first on any of our prize drawings. So congratulations, Linda Marie. If you're watching on Facebook, by all means, can you please tag them in this post and let them know that they have won? And the next winner is going to be, here we go. Watching anxiously right along with the rest of you. Susie Baldwin. Congratulations, Susie. She's always excited to win something. Susie, congratulations, Susie. Looks like the ladies have swept the PPD Guess the Sequence Club raffle winnership for this year, or for this month, I should say, not this year. So congratulations, ladies. We appreciate the fact that you took the time to guess and have a good time doing the Guess the Sequence contest. Let me get a couple of these things here ready. Let me get the presentation, because I have a presentation that I want to start out with, and we're going to click present, and this needs to move over, and come on, there we go. And we need to swap. There we go. All right, you guys should be able to see the you should be able to see this no problem here. And hopefully my little picture will be out of the way of everything. I hope I've kind of organized it the way. So tonight, one second. So I'm recording now for, I'm going to have to turn down my audio because it's really loud. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Is that too soft, or is that loud enough?
Perfect.
Okay, good. So I want to welcome everybody to our Tuesday night webinar. This is it's June 4th, 2024. We are continuing our introduction to RGB series. We're doing this the first week that we have a webinar each month. And as we continue through the months, they're going to be more specified on what are the basics that you really need to know. And in this webinar tonight, what I'm going to attempt to review with you guys is the layout and the sequence essentials that are necessary to understanding your layout. So whenever you're building your layout, you're creating your models. I hate to keep referencing Dale, but Dale's in the process of building all his models. He's got to put a layout together. And so as you're building your layout and you're building your props, there's a couple of things that you want to keep in mind whenever it comes to sequencing. Now, I want to preface this with, this is part one. We're going to continue this exact same discussion next month because it's going to expand on, it takes all of this first to understand. And then when we start applying it into the sequences, it makes much more sense. And I'll show some demos of it tonight. I'll pop them in and out as we go here. In fact, just give me a second here to grab my two instances of xLights that I have open. There's this one, and that way I can just swing them over whenever it's time. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing I would want to do is obviously say welcome again. If you want to see your picture on here, by all means, send me a private message with it. Slip it over to me on Facebook, or send it to me in an email. I'll find a way to squeeze it and add it in here. We celebrate all of the people that are not just in the club, but the people that are in the PPU University, and you're all here probably for the same thing, and that's sharing the joy of lighting with all of the people who are going to come visit your show. So let's get started with the basics that we're going to cover. And today we're going to talk about grouping dynamics. We're going to talk about why group order matters. We're going to talk about confusing model buffers. and we're going to talk about group centering. So there's 4 basic points. I actually had 6, and I cut out the last 2 because that's when I realized this is going to get way too long, and I really want to hit the bullet points on the layout side as relation to the sequencing. And I think I have enough examples that will carry this without you having to worry about too much or not enough content. So basically, I want to start with layout of the prop groups. When you create a group in xLights, the idea of the group is to put everything together so that in one place where you can easily get to it. And if you're looking at the screen, you can see there's this group called Spinners Big Arms. It could be any group, it doesn't matter what it is. But if it's a very specific group with very specific things that you're trying to accomplish in your sequences, then there's something that I call group order matters. The order of the group, the order of the models, particularly in the group, do matter. And whenever I talk about this, I'm referring very specifically to what you see on the bottom right of your screen. There's whenever you click on a group, you have 2 subscreens down below at the bottom of your layout tab. And when you have models inside that group, they'll be given a specific order, whatever order it is that you put them in there manually for. So keep in mind that this group order that you see, this is how your effects render inside that group, depending on the render style that is applied to that group. So I'll do a demonstration of this in a few moments, but just keep in mind, the reason why this is important is because every single sequencer, every single vendor, they all sequence their own way. Everybody has their own way to do it. But if you start with the basics of just being sorted and organized, it's going to carry yourself far more ahead by being sorted and organized, as opposed to just haphazardly or randomly applying things to your sequencing, especially when you're mapping your sequence. So in this screenshot here, you're going to see that the group that's selected here, this is the mini trees group, right? This group that's selected has a set of mini trees that are in the group. There's your models. It says tree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. xLights auto numbers the models whenever you copy and paste them. You can name them whatever you like, but notice that the render that the models in group, the order from top to bottom, this physical top to bottom location setting is set up. It was set up here manually. It was done on purpose for a reason, because if you use a certain specific type of render style, the effect can actually render through the model. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, more like I guess it's more of a suggested order. We generally recommend, and this has been, I would say, in the hobby for years, we recommend ordering your models inside your groups from left to right and from top to bottom. It just makes it much more easy to kind of, at a glance, figure out where in that list that prop should be in your group order. If you happen to have a spinner or an HD flake, you might want to consider doing those in a clockwise or a counterclockwise direction. Any HD flake, any spinner, any like the PPD wreath, if something has a bunch of arms, put them in either ordered, clockwise or counterclockwise order, because depending on who your vendor sequencer is, or how your groups are set up, or how their groups are set up, that render order may matter significantly. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go over here into xLights, and I'm going to bring up the mini trees here, hopefully. There we go. And you've already seen the mini trees in order 1 through 8, right? So the idea is that those mini trees being in and out of order, as you see here, as opposed to original order, which was 1 through 8, there can be a difference in how those effects are rendered depending on who sequenced something that you may have mapped in. So here is why. I'll go ahead in here and I'll quickly create an animation sequence. And I'm going to go to master view. I'm going to go to my little tree line group here. And I'm going to put a timing mark here. Let's make that timing mark a little bit skinnier here. And if I go to the mini trees, there we go, mini trees right here. And I grab the single strand effect. And I put the single strand effect on here. The first thing xLights is going to do is xLights is going to create a buffer around all of these props. And it doesn't matter what order they're in, provided that we're in the default. Now you're going to see this again in a minute. Provided that you're in the default render style, xLights is just going to take the box. It's going to take a box and put it around every prop. It's going to do this. It's going to say, hey, here's a box, and it's going to draw a box right around it. And then it's going to go back and say, apply the single strand effect to it. Here is where things get a little bit crazy. If you take a different render style that's here in the layer setting box and you change it to something such as horizontal stack, look what happens if your models are in and out of order. It doesn't exactly flow the way that you might think that it should, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's randomly occurring. And so it's important to see that whenever you don't take the time to sort your groups in a physical location order inside your model group, then when you transpose your effects, somebody might ask the question, and put your hands up in chat. I think I have chat open already. Put your hands up in chat. Yes, I do. If this has ever happened to you, or you couldn't understand why your effects weren't going like right in line, right along with the way that they were on the screen. And this is probably one of the reasons that things don't exactly look the same that you think that they should be looking. Give me just a second here. So if you're new to xLights, this is probably one of the most frustrating things for you to try to find the reason why this isn't working. So let me show you the very, very, very quick fix for this, because this does make a lot of sense. Okay, it does make a lot of sense. If we go back in here to our mini trees, you'll notice that we already took the time to label everything in numerical order based on where the tree is left to right. We can come down here, right click, and we can do a sort by name. And what it does is it automatically puts these in perfect order with where we were before, where I showed you how it was set up before. But it goes back to saying that whenever you are looking at your layout, if you organize or sort everything, you can sort by from the left to right if that is something that's important to you. So the other thing that we could do, especially if you, and I'm just messing these up here real quick so that they're not exactly in perfect order. The other thing that you can do is that you can also show sort by location. So you can, if you sort by location, xLights is intelligent enough to say, hey, this one is the first one on the left, and then it goes from left to right. So sometimes somewhere in there that nice little functionality was added. If you should have happened to mislabeled or misnamed something, then xLights will put it in order. However, if you have something, let's say like the window frames, up here is the window frames, you might consider doing them in a very specific way. You might call them window number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, 6, and then you have this window here, 7, 8, 9. You know, you might throw the door in there too, 10, or 7, 8, 9, 10, however it is that makes sense to you logically, because that might be something that's important. You also want to consider doing this from left to right, the snowflakes, the same thing. The difference might be with the snowflakes or even the spinners. The hard part about doing like the HD props and stuff, you know, people want to call it spinner number one, spinner number two. I think that's reasonable to leave it that way. People might want to, you know, PPD wreath number one. How many PPD wreaths do you have? Do you have two? Most people are only going to have one, but you might have other PPD. You might have other HD props. You might have the Bellflower or the Mesmerizer or one of the other crazy ones that are out there. The showstopper spinner or flake or something, and you may not want to put those in the same groups. You may end up putting them in the same group, but you may not call them one, two, three. So there's that. And again, this is just as simple as selecting the group and sorting it. And you could see here, and we have our icicles sorted the exact same way, one through 9, and then we have the roof lower 1, 2, 3, and so forth. So keep in mind that this is definitely a an important piece of the sequencing in general and the layout setup in general. Again, I'm pointing this towards more towards people. If you've been in the hobby for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years and you haven't heard this yet, hopefully you can apply this, or if you haven't done yet, so. But if you're new, this is definitely going to make a huge change to your layout whenever you go back through and double check this. The next thing, hold on just a second. The next thing I want to get into is model buffer challenges. The reason why there are challenges with model buffers is because how we think effects work with a buffer, we think we just have a box drawn around the prop. And for the most part, yes, you're correct. There is a box drawn around the prop and it does apply an effect, but it's not always what you think it is. And so with the single strand, the buffer for the single strand always runs from the left to right. The default is never per preview, meaning whenever you apply an effect, it always goes default in the model preview. Let me grab my second screen here and bring that over because I want to show you exactly what I mean by this. So here is, oops, guess I didn't have it open. There we go. So here is the butterfly effect, and here is our layer setting box. We'll go ahead and put it over here, or not. There we go. You can see here that anytime you lay an effect down, it's always going to go with the default. It's always going to be default. Now the thing about the thing about the single strand is that the buffer is always going to be in a left to right run, and it's going to follow where the start of the string is. So I don't know how closely you guys can see this on the recording, but whenever you look in the layout tab in xLights, I'll see if I can't zoom into it in xLights. Well, maybe I can just make them bigger. Let's go to bulk edit, pixel size. We'll make that 10. There we go. You see how your first pixel in the string happens to be a turquoise color. If you're colorblind, forgive me, but it's a blue color. But that's xLights sees whenever you put a single strand into your layout, it sees that first pixel as where the buffer begins. Now, if the buffer begins here, and I'll zoom out here, the green box, which now looks like it's more green yellow or more turquoise. The green box is generally where your strand actually will start applying effects from, and then it will continue to the end to the blue square, which is your end square. we have functionality to switch these around if you should have happened to accidentally hook them up the other way. Let's say you ran the string backwards. Well, you can change that in xLights without flipping the model around like I just did. It might be like, let's say it might be like this. And you can go ahead here and see where it says start location green square. We can change it to start location as blue square. So now if we deselect that model, you can see that where once it was on the left-hand side, now it's on the right-hand side. So now xLights sees this model, even though it's starting on the right-hand side, it still sees it as on the left-hand side. And this is super confusing for people, but this is how the single strand works. It is what it is. There's no way around it. xLights has to have a finite definition for how the buffer runs for a single strand. And it's literally, if I open up this is the effects assist. I believe it'll show it. Will it show it? Maybe it will. I don't know if it shows it. It used to show it. But in any event, it used to show a square bunch of blocks left to right, and it showed the pixels in a very specific order. So let me go back to the slideshow here. So model buffer challenges. When you apply the effects to a single individual model, especially the single strand, the effects are applied through that buffer, as I just said. Now, if you're looking at this still screenshot, and this is where I can highlight it for you, you can visually see it when we go back and I show you. But you can notice that all of these models have different start locations, or they appear to have different start locations. These two are the same, and they look the same, but this one here is reversed, and this one here is the same as these two over here. These two are reversed here at the bottom, but the effect is being applied to the buffer and not as a matrix like I showed you earlier when I talked about the mini trees. So this is rather frustrating and confusing to really, kind of wrap your head around this. So I'm going to go back into xLights and I'm actually going to show you this. And if we have, let's see, I'll put this up here and we'll just do some copy and paste. We'll put this there. You don't need to see that star just yet. And let me do this. So here we go. Let's do, let's delete all these, and I'll just go ahead and fill in with a shortcut key. Here is the butterfly effect going over top of everything. So again, remember what I showed you earlier, that the start of the strand here is at the top. Start at the top, start at the top. Start is over here on the right. Start is over here on the right. Start is on the bottom of this one. And if we go back to the sequencer and we look at these, notice how the original strand, even though we reverse the direction, it's not changing the physical direction of the effect. It just changed the start location. It's still applying the effect as if it's going the way that it was applied whenever the model was drawn originally. So it's still going by the green box. So keep in mind, this is another reason why people get frustrated. If we go in, stop this real quick. If we go in, we have a group here. It's called single line group. If we go into the sequencer tab, let's go into display elements. Put this over here somewhere. Display elements is right here, popped up, and we're going to just add our we'll actually grab the star here in a second, and I'll put that there. So now we have the group. If I go ahead and delete all of these, if you can remember this, if you can remember that they're all going in weird, different opposite orders, and we go ahead and delete these and just put the butterfly effect on the entire group as a whole, what xLights now has done is it's done exactly what we did over here. It's drawn a line around this, it's drawn a box around these props, and now it's taking the butterfly effect and it's applying the effects as default, as I said earlier, which I'll show you the layer settings here again. So here you see the render style default. here you see that they are rendering across the entire set of the single strands. So if you have these models in your prop or in your layout, these can be probably some of the most confusing models to map effects to, because whoever did the sequencing from the vendor wise, they may have taken the time to sort theirs and fix theirs and make sure theirs is all good, or maybe they didn't. And what you see on the screen is different because yours is set up in a certain way on your layout as well. So keep that in mind when you're physically doing your layout. This is a very confusing point. And another way to think about this would be to put the bars effect on here. If we put the bars going up, so here's bars going up, we could add 2 bars to this. There we go. You can see the red bar at the bottom. Now you got white, and it's starting to climb up there quickly. Let's jack that up. Let's go a little faster. There we go. So you can see the bars going up, but you can see how this effect here just goes across the single strand, and it's doing it default, which means it's drew the box around it. But if we go individually per the individual model and we put the bars effect on here, you're going to see that they all do the exact same thing and they don't look like bars whatsoever. So in order for this to actually work, you have to bulk edit these, and you have to do this per preview. And now the ones that are vertical, they're going to see it vertically, but the ones that are horizontal, it's trying to do it because maybe I didn't have them. These aren't perfectly level. Maybe if I cockeye these a little bit, I don't know. Let's try that. But it's trying to do per the preview. There we go. See there, I got one of them to do it. So there we go. Got both of them to do it. So you can see how the buffer is set if it's not in a per preview state. If it's, as we said before, default, the difference is going to be vastly different as compared to what you think it's going to be. Now, the next thing that we'll talk about is also the other challenge, which is the star. We call this the door restar because we put something like this on our the pro layout as our PPD wreath. And the same thing happens whenever you take this model and you physically grab this handle and you turn it. Okay, when you turn it, you're not changing the buffer. The buffer stayed the same. The only thing that you're doing is you're changing the preview in the window. And if you're looking for a lasting change, you're going to have to do something different. And so here's why. If we go ahead, let's go ahead and delete this out. And I'll move this in here. We'll go ahead and put the bars effect on here. Notice how the bars are going up diagonal. The model preview shows it as it is correct, but the layout preview, the house preview, shows it diagonally, just like we had with the handle pointing up here. And the difference is that xLights doesn't see this xLights doesn't see the buffer as turned. It sees the buffer as straight up and down, as you see here on the left-hand side. So if we really needed to do this, what we would want to do is we want to find out how many degrees this needs to be turned in order to be dynamically correct on your layout preview as well as in the model dialog. So if we go in, and I mean, this is just turning the handle isn't a good idea, but it's probably, I want to say, maybe a 12-degree change. So what we'll do is we'll select the model, we'll go in and we'll change this click to edit. And then we'll come in here and over top of this tab, we can right click and we can rotate via X. Here's a 90-degree rotate. You can rotate it 90 degrees. So that's easy. That's taking the handle and rotating it exactly 90 degrees. That's the really quick one. But whenever you don't know exactly which way it needs to be or how you're planning to hang it, then you might have to do X. And now if remember, any positive number is going to turn it clockwise. So I think we're going to try 12. I didn't do this ahead of time. I'll hit 12 in there and click OK. And now you see it down here. Didn't change it over here yet. It just changed it right here. And that doesn't look like it's enough. So I'm gonna cancel out of that. Abandon changes, yes. Let's go back in and do it again. Right click, rotate. Let's do 23. I want it a little bit more. Let's cancel out of it. Abandon changes. What about 32? That's getting closer, but you get the idea that it's rotating it clockwise to get it into the direction. Again, it's also a matter of where's your start pixel at. That's really what you want to do is you want to align where your start pixel is and make sure that the model is true compared to that in your preview. So that's the process to kind of fixing it. Now that we have it kind of diagonally, we'll just go ahead and say this is where we want it. We'll go ahead and click it, and you can see here, now we've got the model kind of turned where the bottom star is almost exactly on the bottom. And we apply the effect now, and you can see here that here's your preview, here's your model preview, and it's not as it was prior. It wasn't pointing straight up with a peak star at the top. It actually is curved over. So this is the correct way for you to apply these changes via the buffer, via the model data, so that when you apply effects, the buffer is read correctly as it should appear onto your house. All right. The last thing I want to talk about is group centering. If you are not familiar with this, I have done a pretty good video on group centering, and I'm going to kind of briefly walk through it in this. There's a lot more detail in the other video that I did that is really dedicated to this. It was a Twinkle Tip Friday video, but I wanted to bring this in here because it's important to note that there are a lot of little things in xLights that we do as sequencers that may apply to you, but other sequencers don't think it applies at all, or it's wrong to do. So what I want to do next, and oops, I didn't mean to do that. Doggone it, I lost my xLights. There we go. So here we are. We're in the PPD Pro layout. There's really nothing fancy going on here. But what I want you to consider is kind of X marks the spot. The idea that you're going to take an X and you're going to center your props, center your group. Basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to tell the effect, hey, if this is the buffer, where should the center of the buffer be located? And if your house is like this house here that is kind of asymmetrical, it's asymmetrical in the sense that you have a lower part here that has this area here, but then you have this offset here to this other peak. It's not a perfectly symmetrical home, but it's asymmetrical where it's still, there's still symmetry to it, but what there isn't is perfect symmetry between all equal parts. So the idea that when we take a prop and place it in the layout and we want to center the effects on the entire house, you may consider that from here to here, let's say from here to here, this is a much wider distance because that's this half of the house. But then from here to here is this distance here. It might be a little different, but it's kind of close. And what we chose to do is we chose to find the bullseye center of where we want our effects to originate from. Now, this is a blessing because the model centering, the effects follow that model centering wherever your center is. And that allows us to sequence the center of our house. But in order for it to center your house, you have to take the time to begin to move these X's around in all of your groups to make them be reasonably situated so that whenever an effect does apply from the middle or from the outside to the middle, or from top to bottom, that it finds that direct center. Like whenever if I do if I do a single strand from the middle outward, it's going to start right here. This is the center point, and it's going to go, hold on a second. It's going to start here. And if I have it going from the center out, it's going to go from the center out from here. It may end here quicker, and it may travel a little bit further over here, but you'll see it from the center of where you bullseye would like to see it from. Does that make sense, everyone? Robert asked a good question. He says, any way to reduce the size of that red plus sign? And I really don't know. I think there is a way, but I haven't figured it out. I kind of looked today and I really didn't see a way to do it. But they did make it quite large compared to what it used to be. It used to be a tiny, fine 1 pixel crosshair pin size. So it's much wider now. It's much more noticeable. So you want to do this not just for your all house. You want to do this for your all house, your all display. If you have a yard display, you want to, and see in this instance, I don't use the all yard very much. You do want to center these. So for example, let's say I want to put this X right at the front door because that's where the center of where I like to center my effects off of. That looks like about the center of where everything else might be. So there's the all display. Now you look at the all yard. That's how I would center it to do effects that go across it. So anytime you make a change in xLights, you're just using that offset center over here on the left-hand side. You're using the Y to go up and down. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of other things. This is an all stars group. This isn't something I would use to sequence with as far as a whole house shockwave or anything like that. I would do that per the groups. The arches, this is another good example. And there were these, honestly, there were things that generally ones that I don't use very much insofar as I use the group centering. But if the group centering is used, then it is important to take the time to go ahead and do that. So again, here's one that now will be fixed. Here's the candy canes. Here's the column matrices. That poof, that's right exactly where we like it. The door restars in the middle. Let's find the floods. Floods, I usually just sequence floods on or off, and I don't usually do major effects on those. Usually as a color wash or something. Here's your gutters. They're right there in the middle of the house. Here's your house verticals. You have an upstairs group of verticals and a downstairs, and I put it right at the center line of the house where the bottom roof meets the upstairs and the downstairs. And there's the icicles. I put it right in the center here, and I tried to center from the bottom up to the middle and from the top down to the middle. So just kind of, and some of these you don't have to adjust. Sometimes xLights just naturally gives it the perfect center position. So for example, that's these mini trees right here. There's no change to these whatsoever, and there doesn't need to be a change. So, and sometimes I do a from middle shockwave or explosion of some sort across all of the mini trees. And of course, if your mini trees are kind of separated a little bit differently, like my arches are, then you might have a little bit of a different resolve on your mini trees because they're separated into two little groups, but they're all in one group. The verticals, other verticals, this is one. I really don't usually sequence the other verticals other than I do that at the submodel level. So, but if we were fixing this, we already know that we need to go to the left a little bit, and we'll just click on the down button and hold that, and it will center it off. And then after a while, it goes up by 20, and then it goes there, gets there much quicker. So it looks like 270. You can physically type them in. Maybe it's 280. 280. There we go. And I would say I want to go up a little bit. So what if we do 50? No, let's do 250. There we go. That looks like about the center. So there you go. A couple ideas for using that central location on your props. And if we go into the layout here, and I'm going to have to do something just for just to get us through, because we'll talk more about this when we get into the part 2 of this series when we go into next month. There is something called a master view. Oops, this is the wrong one. There we go. That was from the other xLights. Okay, so I'm going to use our master view. I don't want to get into too much detail other than I'm putting these in a very specific order so it looks the same way as I always sequence. So if I do a shockwave, if I do an E for explosion, here you can see the model preview of the whole house. And you can see that where the center of that prop is, where the center of the group is the center of the house. So if I make this a little bit bigger at the beginning, a little bigger at the end, and I move the shockwave a little bit more so you can see how the shockwave goes out, you can see the very beginning is right in the center of the house, and that's all due to the fact that we took the time and we created a center point for xLights to create the explosion effect on this layout. And when you map this into yours, if you've taken the time to find the center of your prop, this effect translates easily over to yours. Now, here's the old way that we used to do this before we had group centering. If I were to reset this, if I were to put this at and let me write this down so I don't forget it, 108 and 40. That's a minus 108 and 40. If I change this back to 0 and 0, the old way that we would have done this would have been to go to the shockwave here, see how it's shockwaving over here off to the right. What we would have done is we would have gone to the XY center and we would have moved the effect over just a little bit and maybe up just a little bit. So it gave the appearance of, boom, it's shockwaving exactly where I want it. The downside is, this is the downside of the old way, was if you map this into your layout, you're physically getting these two coordinates that are off center. And then you, as a sequence mapper, would have to go in and take the time to change the effect so that it's centered exactly on the house or whatever prop it was, or prop group that is. So it would have to be at the 50 and the 50 mark. So this is correct for one way, but using the centering per the group centering, that is very key, and that's why it's rather important to take the time and kind of set these up way ahead of time so that whenever you are mapping sequences, now you don't have to worry about going through all of that render. There we go. You can see it right there. It just poof, it popped right over and fixed itself. So guys, do you have any questions? Anything in chat here? Let me see if there's any. I don't see Facebook. I didn't have Facebook open. So if you have any questions, we're gonna go to the portion of the class or the portion of the evening that we call open mic. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to join us here in our PPD Zoom room. The link should be, if it's not there, I'll take you there real quick. If you want to join us in the Zoom room and you're watching on Facebook, just go to pixelprodisplays.com, come to learning, click on Zoom webinars, and then hit this little blue button. You'll join into the room. You need to use PPD lowercase as your password, and you can join us. And we are going to start our evening of open mic night and open Q&A session. So guys, it's been wonderful having you here. Rob, thank you very much for getting this all situated and sorted for tonight and telecasting it to everybody. So huge thank you to all. Appreciate everything, and we will see you in the next video. So take care and goodbye for now.